This short video will help you with Project 2 and how you're going to use StatCrunch. This is a sample data file that I've put up in the StatCrunch website. If you're in our statistics group, you'll be able to pull it up. This data is not current data, so don't try to use it. Some of it's actually made up, so it's not good. I just wanted to be able to demonstrate to you the different things you're going to do in StatCrunch. The first question on your project is W, so you don't need StatCrunch for that. The second question asks you to create box plots for the fare by the airline. So we're going to go up to Graph, and we're going to go to Box Plot, and we want to do the fare, and we want to group it by the airline. We want to make sure we check Use Fences, and also we want to check to use the same X and Y axis because we want to see those box plots side by side. So here's my box plots, and then I can go on to answer the questions whether or not there's skewness, describe what you're seeing. I've given you some references in the instructions to help you with that. Question number 3 wants you to do a scatter plot of the fare by the distance. So we're going to go to Graph, Scatter Plot. Now we're trying to use the distance to predict the fare. So X is going to be the miles, and Y is going to be the fare. And then we can do a compute, and there's our scatter plot. It might be interesting while we're here maybe to take a look and see if there's any differences in the airline. So I could do a group by, and I have some options here, but let's just do colored points on the graph. So the blues are deltas and the reds are Southwest. I might be interested in commenting on that in my description of the scatter plot. Notice if there's any outliers. Let's go back and ungroup, so you might be able to see that better. Whether or not you think there's any outliers in there. If you do, remember how to identify those. For instance, if I thought this was an outlier, I could highlight it and it tells me that's Las Vegas. And I might talk about whether or not I think that's a over prediction or under prediction based on the regression, which I'm going to do in a minute. Then it says find the equation of the regression line. So remember, we go to Stat, Regression, Simple Linear, and we're going to use the miles to predict the fare. We want to do a couple things down below. Remember, we always do the fitted line plot. We want a histogram of the residuals. Control click to select that rather. We'll do residuals versus X and save the residuals in case we want to answer some questions, because I do ask you about residuals. And compute. Find the regression, explain what the y-intercept means in context. What does the slope mean in context? Find the r-squared, which is given right here. Explain what it means in context. Then I also wanted you to look at remember back here, I wanted you to also, while we're here, let's just take a look at the rest of the graph. So let's take a look at, here's your fitted line. I want to look at those residuals, anything interesting going on there. And then finally your residual plot. Okay, and then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to do it by the airline. Let's see if we get a difference in our r-squared. So here, this r-squared's dropped down for my grouping on Delta, and then if I slip ahead here to Southwest, the r-squared here is higher, so it looks like we've got a better fitting on that group of data. That may not be true in the data that you select. Then it says select one of the cities in your data set and use the regression equation in miles for that city, and estimate the fare, and then find the residual and talk about what it means. So I might pick Macon, Georgia, let's say, and here's the miles, and this was from, I believe this is from Atlanta, this data set here, and then do a prediction and tell me whether or not it over or underestimates. So this should help you with your getting your project going. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me.